was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire.
Hey, it's your local peasant, Kal. Lone Wolf and Cub. It's a series of 6 samurai cinema movies. It might be more familiar to you as Shogun Assassin, a cult classic exploitation movie from 1980, which is actually just an edit of the first 2 Lone Wolf and Cub movies. Today, we're going to be talking about the first Lone Wolf and Cub movie, Sword of Vengeance. Released in Japan in 1972, and later in the United States in August 1973. This movie's great. Here's a quick summary. The movie starts off with a man, his son, in a cart, and they're walking down the road. Briefly, he's stopped by some civilians who point out that he's a samurai for hire, a Ronin assassin. So weird stuff happens with a woman, and then it cuts to a flashback. 2 years before, he's the shogun's executor. A rival clan plots to kill his wife, blackmail him just to take his position. His wife is killed, but he and his son escape. He's given one option. He's given 2 options: to commit harakiri or to be killed. He chooses to escape and wander the countryside as a Ronin assassin. He describes living like demons at the crossroads of hell. We cut back to our hero, and he's contracted by the local chamberlain to rid a village of some low-life Ronin and bandits that have been living there. The rest of the movie is him clearing out those bandits, and that's the end. I won't tell any more. Lone Wolf and Cub, The Sword of Vengeance, is part of the Jidaigeki genre. I hope I pronounced that right. It just means period piece. This movie is set in Edo period Japan. In addition, this movie would be more widely known as a chanbara. I pronounced that right?
Chanbara.
This would be more widely known as chanbara, or sword fighting movies. In the West, we'd call it samurai cinema, so I'm just going to call it that. And since we've established that it's part of those genres, I'm going to go over the genre's usual themes, like themes of death and honor, sometimes loneliness, or revenge is a big one. It shares a lot of the same tropes and themes as Western movies. In fact, they're very deeply tied, but that's for another video. This film has very strong themes of death and family and horniness. This movie's fucking so horny, dude. I don't know what the fuck. I got into some weird shit, okay? But beside the point. You really see the absolute worst of life in this, but every dark cloud has a silver lining. You can see glimmers of hope in this dark, cruel world that they inhabit. And our protagonist handles it with a Buddhist stoicism. Okay, this movie had a great style and filmmaking. It has a lot of that classic, like, old school props and gore effects that they used to do, like the spring knife that like flips out that makes it look like you got like what someone threw a knife into you or whatever. Just limbs and body parts coming off and blood just spraying out of it. Oh, and the blood. Let me tell you about the blood. That blood is fucking red paint. It is not even like it's not even the corn syrup stuff that we use typically in movies. It's red paint. It's like awful. It really adds to the movie because it pops on screen. It's really classic, like there's good blocking and framing. If you guys don't know what that is, blocking is where your characters are on screen, like kind of how they move with the camera and where they're positioned on screen. Things like that. And then framing is where objects are on screen. So, you know, sometimes they frame the camera and that's why it's called framing. Anyway, a lot of like classic like movies have this specific blocking and framing that I can see replicated in this movie. Even though it's from the 70s, it's very interesting to see the influence of these things on that. Specifically to the framing, there were a lot of natural things in front of the camera. Like there was a specific scene where there was grass blowing in front of the camera, and then another scene where he's fighting enemies and there's bamboo set up in front of the camera and he slices it right in front of the camera and you see them all slide off. It's really cool. Some more like classic interesting filmmaking things with this is like the use of color on screen. So a lot of the dueling scenes and specific fight scenes, like our protagonist would be wearing black, and in one scene it was white, which makes him stand out from a lot of the other characters because they're wearing a lot of colors and patterns and stuff like that. So it made it really easy to follow. The other thing is the camera was set up perfect for the action. You could see everything. It wasn't cutting like a Hollywood movie would do nowadays. It wasn't shaky, and you could see everything. In some fight scenes, the camera even moved with the action, and that was really nice. If you want to see some really good examples of that, watch Jackie Chan movies from the 90s. Like, that is pinnacle action movie making. It's really great. Really creative stuff. Speaking about colors, the costumes in this movie were so interestingly done. I did not see an outfit that was the same, or at least I didn't notice. It seemed like they were completely different things each time. So well done on that. I don't know where they got these costumes. Maybe there were a lot of traditional robes laying around that they could get. But it was a really well done movie in the filmmaking department. Like, I feel like it was just a great watch. Like, even if you don't like samurai movies, it was really good. Oh, some other cool practical stuff was like, okay, spoilers. From this point on, spoilers. Alright, spoiler section. Right here. The weapons on the cart at the end of the movie, when he duels against all those bandits and stuff, so cool. He pulled out like a flip out spear thing, short spear. It was interesting. The bottom of the cart was bulletproof. That was crazy. And then right at the end of the movie, he didn't even put them all back when he left. They were just still poking out when he walked away with the cart. It was so funny. So it was really well done in the filmmaking department. I honestly feel like it was a good watch. And as for the story, it was well done. I mean, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't super interesting, but it was a good balance with all the interesting action and stuff that was going on. Basically, there's another clan that wants to take over his position. They kill his wife. They blackmail him. And he basically fights his way out of the palace, and they give him an option to kill himself. Just before that, before they give him the option to kill himself, the night before, like, he gets that option, and then the night he's sitting there with his kid, and he's like, do you choose... He puts a toy in one hand and then the sword on the ground on the other. Like, he's like, you choose this. We must walk the demon's way or whatever. And he's like 100% willing to fucking kill his kid. Like, no joke. Like, just slaughter that motherfucker. This baby. Like a baby. But, like, if he would have walked 2 steps to the left, or to the right, where the toy was, he would have fucking died. I mean, like, honestly. But the story's interesting. Just some clan rivalry, and then he gets the option to kill himself, and he takes it or whatever, and he's sitting there in the traditional robes, and he pulls out his sword, and he starts attacking people, and he runs away with his kid, sword in one hand, kid in the other, just like slashing samurai left and right. And then the old master of the rival clan stops him and is about to kill him. And then he pulls off the robes. He's wearing cool black robes underneath with this like insignia that they all recognize. He gets like some street cred from that or whatever. So the rival gang gets scared away and they're like, ah, you have the option to duel us and leave. And then it doesn't show the duel, but he leaves, so I don't know. He gets some real gangster street cred. Oh, I should talk more about the influences. So, word of mouth, alright, I don't know this. Apparently this movie influenced Quentin Tarantino. Not this one in like particular, but Shogun Assassin, the edit of these movies. Apparently that inspired him, so I don't know. Maybe that one's really good. Other inspiration is the Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, GZA's Liquid Swords album is like has clips from this movie in it, like actual, yeah. And there's like plenty of other Wu-Tang things that like reference stuff like this. And it had a huge influence on the like underground exploitation movie thing and martial arts movies in general. This movie had like a huge influence on all of that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if it had influence on like the 90s movies that came after it, you know? Young people watching this and then making the movies later. Like, I bet it inspired a lot of them. Or at least it was one of the things, you know? Alright. I gotta get to it. This movie was horny. This movie was fucking, like, down bad. Like, yeah. Like, completely horned up, dude. I mean, within the first 5 minutes of the movie, a hysterical woman comes up to the cart that he's pushing and grabs the child out and starts breastfeeding him. And you see it. I mean, I was not expecting that whatsoever. And then, 10 minutes later, you see his wife doing it in a flashback to their son. And that was weird. And then, like a half hour later, or 45 minutes later or something, he's like sitting with all the bandits and stuff, and he's like come to talk to them. And they force him to have sex with a prostitute or they're gonna kill him. And you see him have sex with a prostitute on screen. And it's not too graphic, but you see a lot. It's fucking weird. You see his naked ass, like, I don't know. And look at the guy. Look at him. Look at his fucking face. You want to see that? What else? Oh, and apparently he does it. He does it well because she fucking wants him after that, and she keeps trying to like stay with him and seduce. It's weird. It's weird. It's way too sexual. I hope the sequels aren't as sexual because it was very strange just to see those things. Alright, my final thoughts about it. This was a great watch. I was not expecting it to be like so good, but it was fun and interesting and it kept my attention the whole time. I recommend it to people who like samurai movies and martial arts movies, but honestly, I feel like a lot of movie lovers would like this movie. The only thing I would say is that you have to understand the time when it came out, and it's a little cheesy at this point, and it's very sexual. So that's about it. If you don't like those things, you might not like it, but other than that, it was decent watch. Possibly Shogun Assassin is better, but I've never seen it, so I don't know. Maybe when I do a review on that, I can officially say. But yeah, thank you. It's been your pal Kal. Expect more reviews in the future.